Hello, 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 Indiana.
Hello.
I am James Solomon Ben. I am the theomusicologist. Now, that's a $10 word right there. Theomusicologist in our movement, it's blending the civil rights songs, freedom songs, and church songs all together as one. So that's the music that buoys our protests and our marches and keeps us inspired. So I'm going to sing a song called Everybody Has a Right to Live, which indeed they do. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to dream. Everybody's got a right to dream. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to dream. Breathe. Everybody's got a right to breathe. Everybody's got a right to breathe. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to breathe. Learn. Everybody's got a right to learn. Everybody's got a right to learn. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to learn. Live. Everybody's got a right to live. Oh, everybody's got a right to live. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Aha! That's one of our freedom songs of the Indiana Poor People's Campaign and the National Poor People's Campaign. I am James Solomon Ben. I am on the Indiana Coordinating Committee, the ruling body for the campaign here in Indiana. Now, the Poor People's Campaign is organized in 45 states across America. And we recently had our March on Washington. It was going to be an actual March on Washington, but due to COVID-19, it became a virtual march. And we want to let you know that we're so happy to have you with us today. And all people from all parties are welcome, as well as independents are welcome to join us. We do not support any particular candidates. What we do support are the policies that help the poor and the disenfranchised in America. We are the Indiana chapter of this campaign. And again, we are a political organization, but we are not partisan. We do not support any particular candidate. We support particular policies that help people. And let me introduce to you our Indiana Coordinating Committee. At the top of the list, we have our leaders, our tri-chairs, and they are Reverend Shonda Gladden. Can you raise your hand or say something, Shonda? Okay. Pastor Mick Finch. Is Mick with us today? All right. We have Jeff Howe, another tri-chair. Wave or say something, Jeff. Okay. Ah, there he is. And also on the coordinating committee is Timothy Watt. And I think Timothy is just on audio. We don't have a video of him today. Tim, can you say hi?
Yes, this is Tim Watt, also known as Harry Hippie.
Very cool. Dan Chadwick. Okay. Bob Dodson. Say hi, Bob.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi.
Very good.
Sure.
Kaylin Sanchez.
Hello, present.
Hey, Kay.
Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Kaylin. Kimberly Kozan. Say hey.
Hey, greetings.
Patrick Sailing.
Hello, hello. Great to be with y'all.
And Monica Cantrell. Sister Monica. All right, well, that is our coordinating committee, some present, some not so present. Now, let me just give you a few of the highlights and successes of the Poor People's Campaign nationally. As I say, we had our big broadcast on June 20th. More than 2.5 million of you from across the country and around the world viewed our national March on Washington on Facebook, and that was June 20th, 2020. More than 42,000 of you uploaded selfies and stories on our website, and you sent nearly 300,000 letters to our elected officials insisting they implement the policy agenda of the Poor People's Campaign. And we were covered in the news by the New York Times, CNN, Washington Post, the Religious News Service, and many other journalistic outlets. So yes, because of you and you're watching our March on Washington, we thank you for that and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, James, for starting us off. We really appreciate that. That was a wonderful beginning. Probably most of you are probably familiar with the Poor People's Campaign, but for those of you who may be new, we just want to go over a brief description of what the Poor People's Campaign is. About 52 years ago, the original Poor People's Campaign began under the leadership of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his colleagues at the time. And back when that began in 1968, their focus was on 3 issues: systemic poverty, racism, and militarism. We began to continue where Dr. King and his colleagues left off 2 years ago in 2018. And in addition to those 3 platforms that they stood for, we added on ecological devastation and our distorted national moral narrative. And we're focused obviously on the state of Indiana in collaboration with the other states that James referred to earlier. Just want to go over about a handful of statistics, the most recent stats we have on the state of Indiana. 44% of the 6,850,000 population in Indiana are poor or low income. That's a total of over 3 million residents in the state of Indiana. This includes 55% of children, 47% of women, 64% people of color, and 39% of white people. Indiana still lacks a statewide anti-discrimination law that will protect LGBTQIA+ peoples. Of the 25,876 people that are in our state prisons, 37.5% are people of color. Black residents are incarcerated at almost 5 times the rate as are white residents as a percentage of the population. 26.5% of census tracts in Indiana are at risk at not being able to afford water, the basic source of life. An average of 5,258 Hoosiers don't know where they're going to sleep at night because they're homeless. Nearly 125,000 veterans have incomes that fall below $35,000 a year, 25% of Indiana's veteran population. For someone working at the state minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, they would have to work 84 hours per week just to afford a basic 2-bedroom apartment. 44.9% of Indiana's workforce makes less than $15 an hour. That's over 1.7 million workers in Indiana. Then last of all, 568,550 people in Indiana still do not have health insurance. So those are some of the recent statistics that we're standing for to make improvements on. Next, we're going to go over our basic principles. The coordinating committee is going to read through these. These can also be found on the national website of the Poor People's Campaign, in case you haven't already reviewed them. So fundamental principles. Number 1, we are rooted in a moral analysis based on our deepest religious and constitutional values that demand justice for all. Moral revival is necessary to save the heart and soul of our democracy. Principle number 2, we're committed to lifting up and deepening the leadership of those most affected by systemic racism, poverty, the war economy, and ecological devastation, and to building unity across lines of division.
Principle number 3, we are committed to dismantling of unjust criminalization system that exploit poor communities and communities of color, and the transformation of war economy into a peace economy that values all humanity. We believe that equal protection under the law is non-negotiable.
Principle number 4, we believe that equal protection under the law is non-negotiable. Number 5, we believe that people should not live in or die from poverty in the richest nation ever to exist. Blaming the poor and claiming that the United States does not have an abundance of resources to overcome poverty are false narratives used to perpetuate economic exploitation, education, and deep inequality.
Number 6, we recognize the centrality of systemic racism in maintaining economic oppression, and it must be named, detailed, exposed empirically, morally, and spiritually. Poverty and economic inequality cannot be understood apart from society built on white supremacy. Number 7, whereas the distorted moral narrative of religious nationalism blames poor and oppressed people for our poverty and oppression, our deepest religious and constitutional values insist that the primary moral issues of our day must be how our society treats the poor, those on the margins, women, LGBTQIA folks, and workers, immigrants, the disabled, the sick, equal protection under the law, and the desire for peace, love, and harmony within and among the nations. 8, we will build up the power of people and state-based movements to serve as a vehicle for a powerful moral movement in the country and to transform the political, economic, and moral structures of our society.
Number 9, we recognize the need to organize at the state and local level. Many of the most regressive policies are being passed at the state level, and these policies will have long and lasting effects. Past even executive orders. The movement is not from above, but from below. Number 10, we will do our work in a nonpartisan way, No elected officials or candidates get the stage or serve on the state organizing committee of the campaign. This is not about left and right, Democrat or Republican, but about right and wrong.
I do have to unmute, yes. Number 11, we uphold the need to do a season of sustained moral direct action as a way to break through the tweets and shift the moral narrative. We are demonstrating the power of people coming together across issues and geography and putting our bodies on the line to the issues that are affecting us all. Number 12, and the final, the campaign and all its participants and endorsers embrace nonviolence. Violent tactics or actions will not be.
Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Next, we're going to move over to Pastor Aaron Hobbs.
People's Campaign.
We're going to start that over just a moment.
History of our work and highlight the demands of the
My name is Aaron Hobbs, and I'm a member of the coordinating committee for the Indiana Poor People's Campaign. Tonight, I'd like to share with you a brief history of our work and highlight the demands of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. Over the past few years, the Poor People's Campaign has developed a detailed moral agenda based on the fundamental human rights that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. envisioned for the first Poor People's Campaign back in 1968. In 2017, the Souls of Poor Folk audit was initiated to provide an empirical study of how our path has unfolded over the past 50 years and how our nation trembles today from a lack of moral vision. It summons our highest moral aspirations and diagnoses our deepest national ailments, draws on academic research, and most importantly, the testimonies of human beings battered by harmful public policies. As James Baldwin reminds us, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. The audit revealed the necessity for people around the nation to come together to confront the interlocking evils of systemic racism, poverty, ecological devastation, militarism and the war economy, and a distorted moral narrative of religious nationalism. Under the national leadership of Reverend Dr. William Barber and Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, beginning in May 2018, Indiana joined 39 other states and the District of Columbia for the Poor People's Campaign 40 Days of Action. In Indiana, we held rallies weekly at Monument Circle, the Indiana State House, the Finance Center at Fort Bend, and the Governor's Mansion. We also participated in acts of civil disobedience to draw attention to the demands of the campaign. In July 2018, we followed up this action with a meeting at the State House with Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb and his staff to share the demands specifically related to our state. In June 2019, we joined over 1,000 community leaders in Washington, D.C. for the Poor People's Moral Action Congress, which included a presidential candidates forum, the release of our Poor People's Moral Budget, and a hearing before the House Budget Committee on the issues facing the 140 million poor and low-income people in our nation. In the next 9 months, we embarked on a 25-state bus tour to mobilize, organize, register, and educate voters. And just a few short weeks ago, the Mass Poor People's Assembly and Moral March on Washington digital event was held on June 20, 2020. Today, over 50 years after Reverend Dr. King and the 1968 Poor People's Campaign declared that silence was betrayal, we are coming together to break the silence and tell the truth about the interlocking evils of systemic racism, poverty, ecological devastation, the war economy, and our distorted moral narrative. The truth is that systemic racism allows us to deny the humanity of others, and by denying the humanity of others, we are giving permission to exploit or exclude people economically. This quest for the control of resources leads to the potential destruction of our entire ecosystem and everything living in it. Therefore, we demand that the wealthy and corporations pay their fair share of urgent social needs, including decent and affordable housing, quality education and health care, safe and affordable water, and investment in job creation. We demand an end to military aggression, a ban of the proliferation of guns in our society, and the demilitarization of our communities both on the border and in the interior. We demand the right to clean water, a healthy environment, and increased public investment in job programs to transition us to a green economy. We demand a clear and just immigration system that strengthens our democracy through the broad participation of everyone in this country. We demand that First Nations, Native Americans, and Alaskan Native people retain their tribal recognitions as nations. We demand equal pay for equal work. We demand fully funded social welfare programs and an end to the attacks on SNAP, CHIP, and HEAP and other vital programs for the poor. We demand the expansion of Medicare in every state and the protection of Medicare and single-payer universal health for all. We demand fully funded public resources and access to mental health professionals and addiction and recovery programs. We demand free tuition at public colleges and universities and an end to the profiteering on student debt. We demand equal treatment and accessible housing, healthcare, public transportation, adequate income, and services for people with disabilities. And we declare that if silence was betrayal in 1968, revival is necessary today. We loudly proclaim that we will move forward together, not one step back. These are our demands.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for engaging that video. Thank you so much, Pastor Aaron Hobbs, for giving us access to that video. I am elated and excited to share with you all this evening. I am the Reverend Shonda Nicole Gladden. I am one of the tri-chairs of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival here in the state of Indiana. And I am here to invite you to prepare for a conversation. We are getting ready to, in just a moment, send you into some space for breakouts. And in the breakout conversations, you will be engaged with some room facilitators who are coordinating committee members of the Indiana State Organizing Work. You'll be in there for about 30 minutes, and they'll be inviting you to consider some conversation together around how you can get involved in the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival here in the state of Indiana, as well as to just engage you to see what it is that you have come to this space seeking, and how we might collectively answer questions. We might collectively explore what it means to be poor and dispossessed people, but also to walk alongside those persons who whose voices we want to amplify today. So in just a moment, you'll see on your screen an opportunity to join a breakout room. And if you'll press that, you can leave this main room. For those of you who are joining with us on social media, we will in just a moment transition to have a public conversation with one of our impacted persons by the name of Tim Watt, who is also known as Harry Hippie. So don't worry, once we send people to breakout rooms, you'll also be able to engage. If you are here in the Zoom with us and you desire not to go into a breakout room, we ask you to go ahead and log out and jump onto the social media so you can watch there via Facebook Live. But otherwise, we'll see you in the breakout rooms in just a moment. You will be there, as I said, for about 30 minutes. And after the 30 minutes is up, you will see an invitation to return to this room. If at any time you have questions or you need to have me come into the room, you'll see a little button that says ask for a host to assist you. And you can ask me to come there and I'll be there. So here you go. Head on out and we'll see you soon. God bless. And I apologize, some of you joined a little bit late, so you've not yet been assigned, but we're going to get you there. So no worries, you're getting sent as well. Tim, if you are nearby, if you can go ahead and let us hear your voice in the room while I'm in the background, you can go ahead and begin your testimony. Harry Hippie, you can unmute yourself and begin your testimony.
Hello, everybody. Can you all hear me?
I hear you.
Absolutely can.
Absolutely.
Okay, I know you can't see me. I'm sorry for that. My computer does not have camera access, and I am a poor white boy from Indianapolis and have no way to afford to get a camera attached to it. Anyway, I am an impacted Hoosier. I was born and raised in this state. I was born in Northwest Indiana in Gary, raised in Valparaiso, graduated Valpo High in 1977. Moved to Elkhart, where I met my wife of 22 years. And I lived and worked in Elkhart for 6 years, and then we moved down to, I guess, southeastern Indiana, Decatur County area, where we lived for another 18 years before we got divorced. Anyway, long story short, after my marriage crumbled, I became affected by depression and severe anxiety. And after 6 years after my divorce, I became totally homeless with no job, no income, nowhere to live, no roof. And in November 2013 is when I became homeless. By November 2014, a year later, I realized that the services that were supposed to be helping me here in the Indianapolis area they had good hearts, but they were adding more to my depression and anxiety than alleviating it. And so I pretty much gave up on the whole system and just walked out of the homeless services. And then, like I said, by November 2014, it was actually July of 2014, I dropped out of the system. But by November 2014, I had got this sort of epiphany that, hey, I might not have any answers to the issues, but I've got a ways and means to raise awareness to the issues throughout the state. And I embarked on a 2-year journey across the entire state of Indiana, visiting all 92 counties, all 92 county seats, plus 8 other cities and towns, spending at least a week in every county with my shopping cart full of all my earthly belongings. People were going to see me. They might not want to talk to me. They didn't have to, but I was going to be seen in public somewhere near your county courthouse in your county. And so that's what I did. And through some relationships that I built while I was on that 2-year journey, I became involved in the Indiana Poor People's Campaign in 2018. Go ahead. Are there any questions? Go ahead. I heard someone trying to ask something.
No, we just put your picture up, but if someone does have a question, they're free, but we'd like for you to go ahead and give your full testimony, and then we'll open it up to questions if you like, because there's only a couple of people in the room, in the main room here with us, and I'll go to the Facebook and read the questions there for you, but you're free to go ahead. We just put your picture up since they couldn't see you.
Okay, thank you. I cannot figure out how to put my own picture up on this. I have no clue how to do it. I've got pictures saved to my computer, but for some reason I'm not allowed to put them up on this Zoom page.
So why don't you tell people, what is it like to be a homeless Hoosier? How, not does it feel, but what do you need? Or if you'd like to share, how does it feel?
It sucks to be homeless anywhere in the world. I just happen to be born and raised native of Indiana, but through my original 2-year journey throughout the state of Indiana and my Facebook pages that I own and administer, talking about homeless issues, I've connected with people from all over the world, homeless people from all over the world. And it's not just confined to Indiana or the United States of America. It is all over the world. And it's due to the war economy of the United States. It's due to the warmongering of the United States, the oil interests of this nation. That's the only reason we're fighting wars, folks. It's not for we the people of the United States of America. It's to defend the very few people who own interests in the big military machine in the United States of America and throughout the world. And we can use those funds that we waste on all these wars to help the real people here in our nation, here in our state, to help American citizens and those seeking the American dream, just because things are so much worse in their home nations, they try to move here and reach the American dream. We have enough resources for all of us. If you do the research, actually do the research and don't buy the party line, the partisan line. Do the research for yourself. I did.
So when you say do the research yourself, could you say a little bit more? What do you mean? What would be helpful research for those of us who are not out of homes, who would want to be present with you and others like you?
Number one, read The Souls of Poor Folk, the document put out in April of 2018. It's auditing America 50 years after the original Poor People's Campaign that challenged racism, poverty, the war economy, militarism, and our national morality. It was published by the Institute for Policy Studies, the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. Excuse me, my eyesight's not that good. I can't hardly read the small print underneath Kairos. And another organization called Repairers of the Breach. And go to those websites and read what's posted on those websites. They have all kinds of impacted people's stories. They have all kinds of academic research, peer-reviewed research, showing the necessities of we the people, what we need, and how it can be covered if we were just to change our basic ideas as to our national security and the other things that so many people seem to put way too much emphasis on and not enough emphasis on those of us 44% of Americans, almost half the population of Americans who are poor. And those on the margins becoming closer every day to becoming poor because of their loss of jobs, because of this COVID virus, because of whatever.
So I think the people are curious. When you say because of the COVID virus and the lack of whatever, what kinds of ways has COVID-19 impacted you, especially as someone who is already homeless and impacted by the systemic poverty and systemic racism and systemic and the militarization of our country? Can you speak a little bit to how COVID-19 has impacted you any differently? Is there any difference?
First off, I want to reiterate, I am no longer homeless. I am housed here in Indianapolis in HUD-VASH housing, paid for by the Veterans Affairs Administration and your taxes, and I thank you all very much for that. As far as COVID-19, I'm not sure you really want me to go into that because I have many, many disagreements with a lot of my fellow idealists who I basically agree with almost everything else on. COVID-19 really has not affected me much. I do not personally wear a mask because I suffer from what is called claustrophobic maskophobia. Now, maskophobia is a psychological condition to where people are scared of masks, and that's people are scared of clowns. I'm not really scared of people in masks or people that wear masks. I cannot personally wear a mask because I suffer from anxiety and I feel like it's choking me. I'm losing my breath. And so all these places that are requiring me to wear masks, it's affecting me negatively. My only income that I can depend on is I donate plasma at a downtown plasma center for $90 a week, twice a week for about $45 a shot. They insist I wear a mask while I'm in there donating the plasma. The mask makes me suffer from an anxiety attack and I have to rip it off. I've been threatened several times with being booted out of there forever because I cannot wear a mask. So that's how it's affecting me. It's affecting the only income I really have. And I'm forced to put on a mask.
Well, Tim, we want to thank you so much for sharing your testimony. We are going to invite you to join one of the breakout rooms as well. As we continue to be present in this space, you should be able to see your option to join there. We here in the main room, we're going to go to just a brief time of sharing additionally how you can connect with the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival here in the state of Indiana. I don't know if you are joining with us for the first time, you are new to the work that the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, offers. But here in the state of Indiana, if you just joined us, tonight you are joining in our virtual open house. The virtual open house is a space where we have convened to invite those who are interested in learning more about the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, specifically here in the state of Indiana. I'm the Reverend Shonda Nicole Gladden, the CEO of Good to the Soul, and I happen to be one of the tri-chairs of this of the statewide iteration of this national movement. Right now, we have about 100 and some odd people who have joined with us in the actual Zoom room. We've sent them to breakout rooms, but we wanted to make sure that we had content available for those of you who are joining with us here in social media. So a little bit more about the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. You've just listened to the voices of an impacted person here in the state of Indiana, known as Tim Watt. He's also very popularly known as Harry the Hippie Hoosier, the Harry Hippie Hoosier. He has shared his experiences of being homeless and unhoused, rather, excuse me, and he is now currently living in a place that is paid for by your tax dollars, as he has shared. But all across the entire United States, in 1968, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and many others called for what is a revolution of values in America. And they sought to build a broad fusion movement that could unite poor and impacted communities across the country. Their name was a direct cry from the underside of history. It's called the Poor People's Campaign. And so for the last few years, if you've heard in our previous video, we've attempted to take up the mantle here in the state of Indiana to represent the vision and the goals and the ideals of that original movement. That today we're picking up this unfinished work, and we are coming together to confront the interlocking evils of systemic racism, poverty, ecological devastation, militarism and the war economy, and the distorted moral narrative of religious nationalism. Because we understand that as a nation, we are at a critical juncture, that we need a movement that will shift the moral narrative to impact policies and elections at every level of government and to build lasting power for poor and impacted people. And so we thank you for joining with us on social media. We thank you for those who were able to get into the room. If you've not already registered at bit.ly/INPPC open house, please do so, and we will make sure that you receive all of the materials that the people who are in the actual room are receiving. We have some handouts, we have some surveys, and we have some opportunities for you to connect with the local movement that is here. We have about 10 minutes remaining in our breakout rooms. And in that time, I'm going to share with you just another video, and then we will come back. So thank you for joining. If you care to take a break on our social media, you are welcome to do so. And we'll be right back live here in about 10 minutes. Again, I'm Reverend China Nicole Gladden, one of the tri-chairs here in the state of Indiana, welcoming you to the virtual open house for the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival here in the state of Indiana. We thank you so much for being present with us. Charlotte Lorenz, we hope that you will be connected to us. We thank you for always trying. The address again, we'll put it in the comments, absolutely. It will come up in the comments momentarily. And so we ask if you have any questions out there, you are welcome to ask right now, and we'll try to get to them live here in this virtual town hall. We'll also make sure, rather, the virtual open house. We'll also, in just a moment, when we come back from our breakout rooms, we'll be hearing from some of our co-collaborators, the people that we've been working with here in the state of Indiana, who will be able to share with you how we have begun to build coalition, because we believe that building power requires us to build coalitions. And as we are not an organization, we are an organism that moves freely and fully, connecting many different interlocking works to unite power for the poor. We have several entities here in the state of Indiana that have partnered with us, and you'll hear from them as soon as we come back from the breakout rooms. And so we're monitoring both your questions and your comments on the social media, as well as here in the main room, as well as in the breakout room. So in just a moment, again, we are going to bring people back from the breakout rooms. But in the meantime, I want to invite you to share and consider just this brief video, and then we will be back with some additional information. Thank you again so much for joining with us on this opening of the open house for the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival here in the state of Indiana. You have tuned into our time together, as we said.
Everybody has a right to live, health care, everybody, don't stop.
The Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, has come up with a series of demands. And I want you to say those demands after I say them.
I know that you are here for the same reasons we all are here, to put our elected official on notice. We demand an immediate restoration of the Voting Rights Act. We demand an end to racist gerrymandering. We demand a reversal of state that prevent municipalities from raising minimum wage. We demand a just immigration system. We demand a timely citizenship process that guarantees everyone the right to vote.
We demand an end to military aggression and warmongering. We demand a stop to privatization of military budget and any increase in military spending. We demand a ban on assault rifles and a ban on the easy access of firearms. We demand an end to federal programs that send military equipment into local and state communities. We demand that the call to build a wall at the U.S.-Mexico border be ceased.
We demand a ban on fracking, mountaintop removal, coal mining, coal ash ponds, and offshore drilling. We demand a ban on all new pipelines, refineries, and coal, oil, and gas export terminals.
We demand an immediate implementation of federal and state living wage laws. We demand the right for all workers to form and join unions. We demand equal pay for equal work. We demand a guaranteed annual income. We demand fully funded anti-poverty programs that protects the welfare of us all. We demand decent housing. We demand free tuition. We demand free tuition. We demand equity in education. We demand an end to the resegregation of schools. We demand equitable funding for historically black colleges and universities. We demand relief from crushing household, student, and consumer debt. We demand the repeal of the 2017 federal tax law. And we demand that the wealthy and corporations pay their fair share. We believe that we can win. We believe that we can win. We believe that we can win. We believe that everybody has a right to live.
I want you to know that when hands that once picked cotton join hands of Latinos, join hands of progressive whites, join faith hands and labor hands and Asian hands and Native American hands and poor hands and wealthy hands with a conscience and gay hands and straight hands and trans hands and Christian hands and Jewish hands and Muslim hands and Hindu hands and Buddhist hands. When we all get together, we are an instrument of redemption. When we join hands, we can revive and make sure that the promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness and equal protection under the law is never taken away from anybody. So I got a question. Are the rejected
I want to thank you again for joining with us. Our breakout rooms will be ending momentarily. For those of you who are joining with us live on the social media, we want to thank you for being present with us. We're going to give breakout rooms another 3.5 minutes. And so in the meantime, if you have questions, do please join with us and share your questions either in the chat there, or if you are in the main room here with us, you are welcome to speak as well and ask your questions publicly. But everyone else, thank you again for joining us. Our breakout sessions will conclude in the next 3 minutes. While you're waiting, we thank you and invite you to ask your questions. Once again, I am the Reverend Shonda Nicole Gladden. I'm one of the tri-chairs here for the Indiana Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. And we are so elated and excited that you have joined with us here in our virtual open house today, as we have been working around how can we minister and how can we support. I'm a pastor, so forgive me. Well, this isn't a ministry, but everything that I do is related to being able to minister. But how can we be present with and for and to the more than 2.5 million poor and dispossessed people here in the state of Indiana? And so we have convened more than 100 people in a Zoom space here, and they are broken out with coordinating committee members. And you are here watching live. A moment ago, you heard a testimony from an impacted person, our Tim Watt, who is our native, our resident Hoosier, who was formerly unhoused, who continues to share in how he is fighting for the poor and dispossessed people here in the state of Indiana. But me, why do I do this? Well, it was many years ago that I found myself wrestling with the ways that systemic poverty and systemic racism, these interlocking injustices, really hit heavy upon me. And I found myself crippled with what do I do, and understanding how to navigate systems. In addition to me not only being able to experience that or expose to that or wrestle with that, I have the privilege of serving in a denomination that we have social justice at the heart of who we are and who we have been. And so we have been working for many centuries, for 200 years now even, to fight and to eradicate systemic injustices. And so this is something that is near and dear to me. And so in just a moment, you'll see everyone begin to come back to the room. And so we will share with you the balance of our agenda. But I want to thank you for those of you who've joined with us live on social media. And we are welcoming back to the main room all of those who have been in the breakout sessions. So they are coming back. And we thank you for those of you who've been in social media. Just a moment, we are going to invite our special guests to share with you, as well as some additional coordinating committee members will join me as part of our conversation here in this space. So if you have questions, you are welcome to share them in the chat. We are monitoring both the social media as well as here in the room. So you are welcome to share all of your questions. In the meantime, we are going to share just another brief video, and then we'll be back with our full program with everyone who is gathering here with us in our space. So again, we want to thank you so very much for being present with us as we have joined together here for this Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival here in the state of Indiana. You are welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome.
Come on. Come on.
Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got.
Come on. Come on.
Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to learn. Everybody's got a right to dream.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. Before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail. Everybody
right. We are coming back into the room. Everybody's got a right to live. I see so many of you joining back with us. Hopefully you had a great time in your breakout sessions as we've been live on the main social media page. And so we have been playing videos and listening to testimonies and doing all kinds of things. And so now we're back in the room, and I want to invite the rest of our coordinating committee members to share with us as we continue to go forward in our agenda. Here we are. I don't know. Jeff Howell, are you going to join me? Hopefully here on the screen. I think I do see you. So here is the thing. What are we asking you to do? We've had people spending time in breakout rooms for the last 30 minutes, and they've been hanging out, having deep dives and conversations about what can we do in the state of Indiana. And so now I know folks are fired up and ready to go. And so if you are joining with us on the social media and you're fired up and ready to go, we want to let you know, how can you do this? How can you get involved in the state campaign? And so you are here. We are getting ready to plug into the chat there as well as on the screen. Reverend Kimberly, hopefully you also have the link so that you can post it there. I'll drop it to you in case you didn't already get it. So you can post it to our people who, Reverend Kimberly Coxon is out there doing the social media engagement. And so she is able to connect to you all who are in the space there. And I am here trying to host as well. And Jeff Howell and all of the coordinating committee members who are present, everyone is trying to be present and to host here. So thank you for bearing with us as we are attempting to do a new thing in the state of Indiana as it pertains to how we engage in social media work and how we engage in organizing work. And so in just a moment, you'll see that you have a survey in front of you. If you are joining with us in the Zoom room, we want to invite you to complete the survey that you see there. If you are joining with us on social media, we want to invite you to complete the survey that you see there. The link is both before you on the screen, hopefully, as well as in the social media space. What you don't have is the chat. So no, you do not have that, those of you who are here. So what we're going to do is put that up in a big slide in front of you in just a moment. But in the meantime, let's hear from the room. Let's hear from those of you who are in the room with us right now. How was that experience of being broken out? We'll hear from maybe 2 or 3 of you. You can unmute yourself briefly. Jeff Howell?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we had a really good dialogue, discussed the complexities around the economic system and the rich get richer. One of the gentlemen mentioned inadequate health care, mental health care, and people being afraid to go to the doctor. And so, yeah, had a lot of good open sharing time. And one of the ladies on the call is a mental health worker, and she talked about how she worked in Evansville, which is primarily white, but 80% of her clients were people of color because of systemic racism and how that's impacted communities of color. So that heard some really interesting testimonies.
Outstanding, outstanding. Any of the other small group facilitators care to share what your room was like before we jump into the survey?
We had some very good conversation and talked about why people had joined the campaign. And there were several people that had firsthand experience with militarism and poverty. And we had good conversation.
I appreciated how people really recognize the uniqueness of this campaign is the interlinking injustices, and how when we move forward together, we can change systems that have been usurped for the good of only the wealthy for a whole lot of systemic changes. Reverend Shonda, we invite you to.
Yeah, thank you so much. As you're continuing to use the features there that are in front of you, I want to thank you again for joining with us. You will see in front of you the survey so that you can participate. If you just tap into it, and you will be able to go forward and share your information so that we can make sure that we are connecting with you and doing all of the things that are necessary for you to join with us, as the computer and everything is doing all kinds of wonderful things. So we'll invite you to just take a moment to pull up that survey. And if you are on social media with us, go ahead and pull up that survey. And if you are in your own space, go ahead and pull up that survey. And while you're doing that, I'm going to ask Jeff Howell to continue the brief conversation.
I don't see the survey yet, Reverend Shonda.
No, we don't. No, we don't have it yet.
The practice works so well.
I see it. This is Monica. I see it on my screen.
Yes, so I'm not sure. I think everyone out there says they see it. And so if you're
but we can't scroll it. I see it, but it won't move.
Scroll it. You're going to have to pull that information off.
Just copy it.
Plug it into your computer.
Oh, copy and paste.
This link right here. So you're going to type bit.ly/INPC pre-survey into a tab somewhere.
Uh-oh, I lost it. Shoot. Well, I'm lost. I'm gone.
We definitely don't want people to be lost. So we'll come back to the survey. So nevertheless, don't want anyone to be lost. Want everyone to be with us, because this is what the Poor People's Campaign and National Call for Moral Revival is all about, making sure that everyone is always with us. So if you don't see the survey and you can't see the survey, do not worry. We will make sure that we get you the survey momentarily, that immediately after this, you will be able to see and hear all that is necessary for you to engage in the survey conversation. But let me just share with you just briefly. The state of Indiana, for the Poor People's Campaign and National Call for Moral Revival, we are organized in 3 different regions. We have the Northern region, the Central region, and the Southern region. We have coordinating committee members who are located in each of those regions, who engage in helping us to connect one another, not only to individuals, but to institutions, community serving organizations, local houses of faith, non-faith related individuals, civic-minded folks who are doing the work on the ground in the northern, the central, and the southern regions of the state. Currently, we are also having coordinating members who are located in specific cities throughout the state and what we call clusters. In Terre Haute, we have Bob Dodson, who helps us to organize individuals in Terre Haute who are interested. In Indianapolis, we have Jeff Howell, myself, Kaylin Sanchez, Pastor Aaron Hobbs, James Solomon Ben, Monica Cantrell, and Tim Harry Hippie Watt. In Fort Wayne, we have Reverend Kimberly Cox and Flory. In Jeffersonville, we have Pastor Mick Finch. In Bloomington, we have Patrick Sailing, who is also one of our Moral Fusion student organizers. These are the current cities where we have coordinating committee members located, but we want to expand our reach throughout the state. And so we have planned for future expansion, but we need you. We need people who are already spread throughout the state, who's able to be present with us to move forward together, not one step back. And so when you're able to complete that survey, we're going to ask you to say where you're located. But in addition to that, we want to talk about how else you can be more involved. And for that, I'm going to toss it over to Jeff so he can talk to you about the other kinds of immediate needs and how you can plug into our state work. Jeff?
Thank you, Reverend Shonda. Yes, as Reverend Shonda mentioned, we want to plug people into this Poor People's Campaign in Indiana. some of the areas where we can really utilize folks are the social media, press, communications, event planning, cluster leadership, and organizing members. And when the survey comes up, if you're able to do it tonight, it doesn't take very long, maybe a minute or two at the most. But the sooner we can get those surveys back, we will start going through the data, and then we can plug people in. We've got over 4,000 members in Indiana, and so we can definitely have room to create more clusters and fill in any gaps in the state where we don't have clusters currently. Now we have 3 very special guests who are on with us right now that we'd like to introduce, and they're each going to share for 2 to 3 minutes of what they are up to in their location. Is Annette on? Annette Johnson? All right. Annette Johnson is a Pike Township trustee. We're glad to have you on, Annette. We also have Rosie Bryant here, who's an organizer with the organization called Faith in Indiana. She's out there hitting it hard, so we're glad to have her on the call tonight to share. And then we have another superstar, our College Fusion organizer, who's located in Bloomington. And he's actually at a rally right now, I understand, because of some recent actions that took place in the last 24 hours. But his name is Patrick Sailing. So please welcome them to the call. And we'll go ahead and begin with the ladies. Annette, would you like to share?
I do not see Annette any longer, but I do still see Rosie Bryant, I believe. And so we'll start with Rosie Bryant.
Sounds good. Hey, Rosie.
Hey, 1 second. Let me get this noise out of the way.
All right.
No problem. So then we can go to Patrick if he's ready.
Yeah, hello everyone. I apologize if the wind is loud. I had to choose between being outside with the storm or being inside with the dog that doesn't like the storm, and this is a little bit quieter. So like was said before, my name is Patrick Sailing. I am one of the Poor People's Campaign Moral Fusion student organizers, and I am here in Bloomington, Indiana, going to school at Indiana University, and I was born and raised in Indianapolis. So here in Indianapolis, or in Bloomington, being a college town, I felt that the role of a student organizer becomes that much more important, and especially when we see such a divide between the academic world and the ivory tower, an institution of the university, and all of the incredible resources that the town has access to because of those. But then we are also still seeing our folks that are true Bloomington community members, so not four-year transient college students, but folks who have been here their whole lives and have maybe spent their entire lives on the street here with these college students passing by, never even stopping to say hello, let alone give $1. And so one of the things that has been so incredible recently is if y'all were with us and remember, on June 1st, the Poor People's Campaign did a cultural day of action. And for that cultural day of action, we had students and community members throughout Bloomington go out and chalk the messages of peace, love, and justice that we all hold in our hearts here in the campaign. We put those on the streets and on the pavement because we want everyone to know what that better world that we know is possible. We want them to know what it looks like. And we want them to see us working together to create it. We want to show them what fusion organizing looks like. And so we took to the streets and we covered the town, and then we met up with the folks who had been protesting in light of police brutality at that time and the killing of George Floyd and Drayshawn Reed in Indianapolis. And we not only took over the courthouse with chalk and put our messages of love up on the sides of the building, but we also covered the monument that was dedicated to the Spanish-American War, a war like most of exploitation, and a war that pitted poor folks of one nation against poor folks of another, all for profit of people who never had to pick up a weapon. And so we held our space at the courthouse from June 1st, that first day of the cultural day of action, until June 10th. And in that time, we kept creating art, and we kept creating dialogue, and we created family. And we brought together folks that were never made to be together. And that was the greatest threat to that courthouse, that seat of justice that had only ever been an arbiter of injustice. And we, the people, said, if you want justice, we'll show you what it looks like. We'll show you. It looks like our unhoused brothers and sisters sitting by our students, sitting by our undocumented brothers and sisters and our indigenous brothers and sisters, and all of them coming together to say Black Lives Matter, and all of them understanding their place in that family and their place in declaring that. And so while we had this space, we were evicted by the police, by the sheriff's department on June 10th. And they told us that while they believed the students and protesters to be cordial and kind, they believed that the courthouse had become overrun by homeless, and said that some of them even defecated in the bushes. So the city took this beautiful family that we built and tried to paint it as divided, and tried to say that we weren't family, we weren't all together. Not everyone there was protesters. Some people there were homeless. And we said, yeah, they were. That's why they were protesting. These are the folks that know what police brutality looks like in this town. And so we had this incredible moment at the square. And when we left, there was definitely heartbreak, but we also knew that, like the Poor People's Campaign says, we don't just get together, we stay together. We all there had made a commitment to each other that we would be together again until we win. And so tonight, we are at the courthouse. It's just a couple blocks away. I had to sneak away to get Wi-Fi to be with you all. But we are gathering at this courthouse. There are hundreds of people at the courthouse yet again, and they are chalking and they are painting signs, and they are declaring once more unequivocally that Black Lives Matter, and that in Bloomington, we will not stand for what we are seeing. This past weekend on July 4th at Lake Monroe, which is just 20 minutes outside of town, a Black man, an activist from this community, was attacked by a group of 5 white supremacists who attempted to lynch him, calling out for a noose. And we know that, and DNR responded, and no arrests were made. The white supremacists were not even questioned. And so we are rising up again. And this time, we know what we did last time. We know each other. We know each other's conditions. We know how to fight together, and we are staying together. But that takes on different forms for everyone. So I'm working at a COVID isolation center now. And so I can't necessarily be there in the streets. And I know a lot of us here know that we can't be in the streets, but we've had folks that have come by and given us water bottles, folks that have come by just to sing for us, even if it's just from their car. It is beautiful, the magnetism of our moral revolution and this moral fusion organizing that we're doing, and the visibility and the beauty and power of our being there and the art that we create together. And so that's just one example of some of the work that folks have been doing. And that's what we've got here in our Bloomington community. And it has been beautiful. And tonight's the first night, and we'll keep moving forward together. We know that much to be true. And we know that the arc of time bends toward justice. MLK told us that much. And so I'm so happy to be with y'all in this fight. And I look forward to seeing the beautiful gifts that you all bring and the beautiful direction that y'all bring. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to toss it over to Rosie Bryant with Faith in Indiana.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rosie Bryant, and I am a community organizer with Faith in Indiana. We do a lot of work here in Marion County. Some that has been our focus is recently when COVID hit, we advocated and yelled at the rooftop to make sure that there is justice in this COVID moment. And we won. The mayor's office agreed to put money in our COVID relief fund so that everyone in Marion County, everyone in Indianapolis can receive rental assistance that qualifies for it, including undocumented immigrants. We also pushed that they release people from the Marion County jails so that they could stop and slow the spread, and they did. And now Marion County jails are way below 50%. We also advocated to make sure that there are more treatment centers throughout Indianapolis, and we won that as well. We advocated and fought for, sorry guys, to ensure that in communities of color, that there are actually treatment centers there that people have access, and we got that as well. Here recently, we also, have been fighting for gun violence, which has been an issue in our community before COVID hit, and has continued to run rapid in our community. Oftentimes, we focus on gun violence that when it hit the schools and settings that happens, but we know that that only represents 2% of the gun violence in our community, and gun violence is running rapid, particularly in the Black community. We knew that, and so we advocated for a strategy called GVI that identifies those individuals that are believed to be driving the violence and pushes a holistic approach to that and gets them away out of street life. That strategy has worked wonders in places like Oakland, where they've had a reduction of over 50%. We fought for that and won, and recently the mayor publicly committed and called on Faith in Indiana and thanked us for our support in pushing him and his team to actually implement this strategy. And so he is committed to fully fund this strategy and actually put it in the budget for the 2021 year. So we're really excited about a lot of that work that we're doing around that. We also, we have a chapter in Fort Wayne, and one of the activists there that works with our chapter was actually arrested and detained by ICE when he was peacefully protesting. And we advocated, we went to his court hearings, and he's now been released and is going to be being returned to his family. He was at first facing deportation. So we do a lot of work here in Marion County, and we like to partner with everybody here. So if anyone is interested in doing this, you can reach out to us. You can reach out directly to me if you would like at rosie@faithinindiana.org. Or you can visit our website to learn how to get in touch with our other local chapters.
Thank you so much, Miss Rosie Bryant. We are so grateful to have you as one of the partners that we do work with. I think there's so much overlap because we're not an organization, we're an organism. We just connect to lots of different organizations to try to keep doing the work. And so we are always grateful for opportunities to connect with you as well as with individuals and organizations like Hoosier Interfaith. Reverend Kimberly, are you able to join us and share with us? I understand Annette has had some audio challenges. Can you?
Yes, she sent a message to me. She had been on our call and was struggling to be able to be heard. And so she will definitely join us in future meetings. But Annette Johnson and I are on the Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light board, and we work within a faith context for a climate change mitigation. And so she was going to be sharing about how, from an environmental justice standpoint, we rise together. Both organizations, we have supported one another. One of our persons on the call I saw was Lena Green, who was just interviewed by the Poor People's by Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light, as a person who's participated in the Fort Wayne Poor People's Campaign. So that's one intersection. We've shown up at the rally days at the State House for Hoosier Interfaith Power and Light, and they have in turn also spread the word and shared in some of the actions that we've done as the Poor People's Campaign. So we are all a part of a similar organism that's moving forward together. So thank you for your continued support as the Poor People's Campaign to many organizations around the state.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, friends, you have joined with us for just over an hour, whether you've been live with us here in the room or whether you have been live with us on social media. And so we want to thank you so much. We've attempted to share with you tonight the ways that the Poor People's Campaign and National Call for Moral Revival have been enlivened and experienced here in the state of Indiana. And so we have just about another 5 to 7 minutes with you. So we thank you for being with us. But what has been the point of all of this? Well, we have a few asks. The first is that we ask is that you invite 10 new people to join the movement. We are not an organization. We are a movement. We are organism that moves. And the only way we move is with your hands, your feet, your mouth, your words, your engagement. So we're going to ask you to be one of 10 new people who will join this movement to help us to build our base. We're going to ask you, secondly, to follow our state and national social media pages. You can find us on Facebook at Indy PPC, INDY-PPC. You'll find us there, or you can just Google or search the Poor People's Campaign and National Call for Moral Revival, and you'll land on both the state page and the Indiana page. Like and follow those pages. That's how we engage a lot with on the ground organizing work. Familiarize yourself with the National Poor People's Campaign website. As we've just held this massive national and even internationally reaching moral revival and mass meeting virtually, digitally on June 20th, 2020. In a few weeks, we want to do an even more impactful thing here in the state of Indiana beyond just this open house. So familiarize yourself with the national website and imagine how you can help us to bring the national experience to the state of Indiana. But then lastly, be sure that you've utilized the online tool to email the Justice Jubilee platform to your congressional leaders. What is the Justice Jubilee platform? Well, hopefully you talked about it in your rooms in your time together. But for those of you who are joining with us here in the in social media, you've not already learned about it. And so the Justice Jubilee movement is what we have launched as a way out, the next move of what we are trying to do as we have built this mass and we've begun mobilizing here in the state of Indiana. So the Justice Jubilee movement is going to invite you to contact your state legislators to make sure that you are indeed doing the things that bring us closer to finding justice together as we are fighting for the poor and dispossessed people throughout the state of Indiana. It is the legislative and policy priorities of the entire Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. So we want to make sure that as soon as you fill out that survey, that you are connecting to the Justice Jubilee movement. You've heard us express what the demands are, but the Justice Jubilee movement is going to say, everybody is in, that nobody's out, that we recognize that everybody deserves our nation's abundance, that we want to suggest that when we lift from the bottom, everybody rises, that we want to prioritize the leadership of the poor and the low income and the most impacted, and that when we see that there are debts that cannot be paid, that people will never in the course of their entire lifetime repay a debt, that they must be relieved, that we're looking for freedom from servicing debts that cannot be paid. And then lastly, we're looking for a moral revolution of values to repair the breach in our land. We want you to familiarize yourself with the entirety of the national website, as well as the things that we've shared with you today. Don't leave us. Stay connected with us. There's a survey that we're inviting you to complete. If you register for this event, you'll get it in your email. But then there's also a cluster meeting emphasis gathering for the state of Indiana that we will have on July 27th, 2020. It'll be about an hour, but we will send you into spaces with individuals from your local clusters as well as your statewide regions. So we're hoping that you put this, save the date, July 27th, 2020, so that you can join us for this additional conversation a week from today. And then we'll go ahead and see how we can move forward together, not one step back. So this concludes our time together. We're going to invite our theamusicologist, Monica Cantrell. Yes, ma'am. Same time tonight, 7 p.m. 7 p.m. a week from tonight. But Monica Cantrell, who is so wonderful in reminding me to say the time, she's going to jump on and she's going to close us in her own special way. But we thank you so much for joining with us. We hope you've enjoyed this time together, and we look forward to moving forward together, not one step back.
So I'm going to just close out with a song that we all know that will lift us up, and you can mute out since technology doesn't afford us to sing together in time. this little light of mine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Out in the dark, I'm gonna let it shine. Out.
I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. We thank you all. And it seems as though our sisters' technology has failed, but the movement never fails. We always move forward together, not one
step back.
God bless you. Those of you in the Zoom room, we're going to close out our live stream. But if you want to stick around and ask some additional questions, live stream will see.